Okay, you guys, sorry about the bad video quality and all that, but hey, I'm doing the best I can. I'm just a scientific researcher. I'm not actually a videographer, believe it or not. What I want to talk to you about is hogs, wild hogs, how to get rid of them, what would be the best areas to divert research into, how to do the research, who to get them to do the research. So what I'd like to see happen is Arkansas Sabre brand of wild boar barbecue, and there's the date. And the reason I like to see that is because if you don't have a finished product, you're not going to encourage people to get rid of them. If they're actually worth $6 a pound in the grocery store, frozen with barbecue meat and all cleaned up from steam sterilization or what have you, then people will buy it. You have a valuable product. So how I think that should be done is have some high school studies of economics of dog food made out of wild hogs, maybe as organic fertilizer. That might go for like 75 cents a pound. I don't know which is more valuable, but it's certainly a good point. I think high school students can do this research. It's been done before, that high school teachers have had their students make actually peer-reviewed papers that were published. So they went on to college and they had peer-reviewed papers under the belt. Nothing wrong with that. And that's what high school should be doing, things that are, truly appropriate in the marketplace instead of just bookwork and stuff. So maybe we'll get out of that when Trump eliminates the Department of Education, which is what they're saying, and get rid of all those ridiculous laws and things. So again, high school studies in whole systems. If you look at the whole system, you'll very often find things in it that you can see need to get moved as a whole system. So you need to, trap your hog, move it to get it butchered, have it turned into a product, whatever the product might be. So then if pigs are worth money, then farmers can make money even just renting out good trapping land. I mean, that's certainly a possibility. And also you might want to look at computer arm skinning. That means you're going to have a computer that'll actually skin and gut the pig because of all the problems I've been hearing about with the disease for the workers who are actually processing the animals. So this would certainly be a possibility. Also a kind of a glove box like we have for sandblasting. There's a lot of possibilities. That's why we're going to look at overall systems. Okay, now getting to the point, the reason I'm making this, not truly an original invention, but there are some advances here. I'm looking at this would be the drop area. This would be, for example, plywood. And this would be a mesh net, a mesh bonded to a substantial fabric so those little hoops wouldn't go through it. And I would think personally that a single drop bar, counterweighted or tied to the ground on a simple tripod would work. This would tend to spin, so you're going to stabilize that with some little cables here. Guide cable to the plywood sled. I was suggesting a plywood and wood kind of thing they'd actually stand on, so the food would be located here. The mesh net would be designed in such a way that it would shrink so it could have a larger area, and once you dropped it on them, and the whole thing would kind of drop on them, and so they couldn't really run around too much. And then it would shrink onto the plywood sled. So these ropes could go also through pulleys, which would move it into the exact position you want. And then you can winch the plywood up onto your weighting vehicle, which could be preferably a trailer because it's lower than a truck. And then, of course, the pulley can pass the wire under the plywood to go to the winch that's up, located perhaps in this direction. Winch, okay? It gets smaller. We see pigs have a tendency to slam into the wall and should not see the floor cable shrinking. So the floor cable is going to pass under them, going to be under their feet. When they slam into the wall, they're not going to be able to go under it or root under it. They're not even going to know where this floor ends. You know, they're just going to be in a panic, and it'll be dark in there too. That'll help a lot. The inner circle winches tighter to corral the pigs on top of the sled. That would be this circle. Okay. So here we go to basic. Here your item falls, and then it starts to close, and then it's closed. Okay, this would be the whole system. Okay, so we're going to go over this again. A membrane net drops and a ring cinches shut under their feet. This guides them onto a plywood sled, which moves onto the trailer. High school kids can study economics of robotized barbecue and dog meat processing and developing small factories for ranchers. So here again we have the piggies, we have the net, we have the apparatus. Okay, we got maybe steel pipes in it, if that's going to make it easier to cinch it together, quite possibly, especially to get it onto a relatively narrow plywood sled, depending on the width of the trailer that you have. Here we have the piggies going up onto the trailer. Okay, the net mesh is bonded to a membrane, and that's pretty easy. I can tell you some of the experiments I've done for doing that. So the piggy feet won't pass through, or a super tough membrane is used in lieu of a mesh. I don't know what those those little sabers they got on them can cut through, so I don't know how much steel and how much material you would need, but it's possible you could get away with some kind of rubber. Kevlar is kind of expensive, but some kind of mesh combination, maybe a laminated. I've done some work with laminating different kind of fibers and plastics and stuff. Okay, here's the cables pulling the floor together. You've already seen that. Again, you know, the pigs will tend to attack the wall. They'll be standing on the wall, you know, the mesh itself, so they just won't be able to get through it. Further, if this whole thing is falling on them, and even if you have little partitions in there to keep them from running around, that might be a benefit. In fact, getting them off their feet when you're collapsing the structure might be a benefit. I don't know, but they might not be able to stay on their feet with that mesh passing under their feet anyway. I got no idea what's really going to matter, but you certainly could inject into their atmosphere, since it's closed with a membrane, some kind of a knockout gas. You know, I guess you got a lot of choices there. So maybe they'll just be out and be literally dead meat by the time they get to the factory. And then you might be able to do that and keep them out until you get there in the morning, because you might not want to wake up at 3 a.m. and run down there and winch up a bunch of pigs, unless they really are worth $10,000, and I'm guessing anyone would get out of bed for that. But being more realistic, they're not worth that much money now. Okay, they will be standing on the floor and the pipes, and won't find a way to lift this cinching cable as it closes. That's the idea. So here's our piggies getting winched, and then the plywood sled onto the trailer. Conclusion. Okay, here I'm just going to read this right off the bat. Conclusion. A membrane roof falls on the pigs. The cable cinches in the bottom like a lady's shower cap. The pigs, now on a plywood floor, are winched onto a trailer. The pigs, now on the plywood floor, are winched onto a trailer. Sorry, I just said that. Robot skin and butcher the hogs, and barbecue sauce masks the off flavors. I have heard that they didn't taste so good. Slow cooking can change that, we all know. A slow-cooked pig is one of the tastiest things in existence. You got to cook them all day long, and it does make a good little beer party. If this whole process, okay, long cooking, soaking in brine, milk, or yogurt has worked for a lot of meat. I think a lot of experiments need to get done, especially for those tough old boars. Maybe extensive soaking, and then maybe a long cooking time. If this whole process is economic, getting rid of the pigs becomes economic, and then I would suggest make a small model of your trap and try it on cats or domestic pigs or something like that. Just make a small model, see if it works. Anyhow, this is my basic idea. It's not entirely different than other people's ideas. There might be a few ideas in here that are useful to you. I hope they are. And I really would like to see all the high school kids getting to work doing something really useful. I did some things like that when I was in high school. They gave me a shop project to design the spice rack we were going to make, and we did make as a class project. We didn't make my model because I was taking too long. And besides, plenty of experienced woodworkers did a better job than me. I was, after all, just 15. So we ended up producing a very nice little spice rack. But I still remember what mine looked like. I spent a long time designing it. And I think this would be an advancement in terms of cost, ease of moving it, ease of moving the pigs once they're trapped. And again, overall, we need to look at the whole process, the entire process of pig from moment of trapping to the moment of eating. Either dog's going to eat it, people are going to eat it, someone's going to eat it. Okay. So I hope you guys are having a good day. Talk to you again. Bye-bye.